Hey guys, I am here with what, for me, I read an arc of this book, but this book is actually out. It came out last week because I'm a little bit all over the place with my reading, but I'm trying to get these reviews out, even if these books aren't necessarily arcs anymore. And I just, why did I read another sad romance novel is actually the question that I want to ask. And I just have read too many romance books recently that have to do with grief or death themes, and I'm salty about it. However, this one was very cute and beautiful. It just also has a side of grief, as with the novel Here We Go Again that Michaela and I reviewed recently. So today we are going to talk about Love at First Book by Jen McKinley. So when this book begins, we are introduced to Emily. Emily used to be a librarian on Martha's Vineyard in Massachusetts, but she has given up her job, moved away from her friends, and basically everything that she's known to move to Ireland to help her favorite author of all time write the conclusion to her best-selling novel series. Now, Emily grew up with these novels and they really saved her through a very traumatic and emotional childhood. But unfortunately, about 10 years ago when this book starts, the penultimate book in that series was published, and this author, Siobhan, never finished the rest of the series. There's been this 10-year gap, and Emily has been asked to be her assistant to help her finally finish this series. Siobhan lives in Ireland, and so basically in order to help her idol and basically favorite author ever finish her favorite book series ever, and to escape some pretty awful stuff that's been happening back in Martha's Vineyard, Emily is just picked up and gone to Ireland. When she gets to Ireland, she is introduced to the bookshop, The Last Chapter, that is owned by Siobhan, where she will be working when she isn't acting as Siobhan's assistant. And she is also introduced to Kieran, who is a very hot Irishman who, for whatever reason, just does not like her from the moment she walks in the door, and come to find out, Kieran is Siobhan's son. Kieran has a lot of complicated feelings about his mom getting back into writing, and it takes a little while to find out, so I'm not going to give you all of the details. It's not a spoiler or anything. It comes out, and it's fairly obvious also that Siobhan is recovering from something, and that Kieran is very, very, very conscious of making sure she sleeps and eats, and she's very frail. And so basically you get the gist that Siobhan works herself to death when she writes, and Kieran just doesn't want that for her. And so he sees Emily as this problem, and he's trying to chase her off, thinking that if he can get Emily to leave, then his mom won't write anymore and things will go back to normal. Turns out that Siobhan's illness is worse than it seems, but that is not going to stop Emily and Kieran from getting the hots for each other. And so, yeah, a lot of things are about to happen, all set in a lovely, postcard perfect, cutesy Irish village. So this is a single POV romance entirely from Emily's perspective, which for the most part is fine. I didn't really get the sense to Kieran outside of why in the beginning he really just didn't like Emily. He was or wasn't doing certain things. I think he is pretty much either you can guess it based on his behavior and the descriptions that you're given, or another character will kind of explain his behavior, because the place where they are living and working, Kieran and Siobhan have lived in basically their whole lives. So it's peppered with those small town folk who all know the backstories of everybody. Emily, like I said, was moving away from Massachusetts to escape a very toxic relationship with her mother. Her mother is a Class A narcissist who will call Emily just shouting, "How dare you move away from me? How dare you do this to me?" Even though there's nothing wrong with her mom, physically, right? Her mom could take care of herself, but Emily's been devoting the last X years of her life, too many years, to basically eat, sleep, and breathing whatever her mom tells her to do, and so this is like her moving on, but it is also hard. This also has kind of shown itself in really, really bad anxiety attacks that turn into bouts of hypochondria, where Emily's anxiety continues to tailspin because she believes that whatever she's feeling isn't just like a cough, but is the bubonic plague, right? Kieran, you will come to find out, as I alluded to, that his relationship with his mom is more complicated than it appears originally. And there's a lot of like unpacking for them to do as well, which Emily will basically facilitate for them. So again, you don't really have to guess what's going on there either. The basic setup for Kieran and Emily's relationship is that he sees her more as like a representation of this thing that he's been trying to avoid with his mom. He doesn't want her to get sick again. He doesn't really want her to write again. It's bringing up all these past memories, but also he finds her super sexy. And Emily also really thinks that he's attractive from the moment that she sees him, but then he is treating her very gruffly and poorly and differently than the rest of all of the other employees. And she's like, all right, I don't know what I did there, but like, I'm gonna give to you as good as you are giving to me. And they have a lot of like banter. You're basically just kind of like waiting for them to get past this so they will kiss. I think the big thing that just like really kind of made this book a little bit less enjoyable for me is, first of all, I do not like when characters withhold information from another character, and it was built into this whole thing where Siobhan basically tells Emily before Kieran knows that she is iller than she lets on. And she asks Emily not to tell Kieran, and by this point Kieran and Emily are beginning their relationship. And so Emily feels like really stuck between a rock and a hard place. She wants to honor this wish, but she also wants to be honest with her boyfriend. And I don't really think that that is a spoiler because it happens like pretty early on in the book, because it then like becomes the conflict, right? Of where Emily is like coming to understand how Kieran feels about his mom, and she also has a better understanding of why Siobhan is acting the way that she's acting. And so she's like stuck in the middle trying to facilitate that relationship. And I just in general hate when there is that withholding of information. So many romance novels, when their main point of tension is just like miscommunication, it really frustrates me, because I'm just like, we always know, like romance novels, if you read enough of them, should really just teach you that the best way through is to tell the other person, because so many shenanigans happen because they don't just communicate in a healthy and active manner. And I feel like this book does give you like the reasons that Emily is like, I mean, it's not my place, but at the same time I was just like, in terms of the plot, you just know where it's going. You know that everything is gonna be hunky-dory until it explodes, and Kieran very rightly will be hurt that she has been lying to him this entire time. And so you're just kind of like reading through like the burgeoning stages of their relationship, essentially knowing that it's all gonna fall apart. And yes, we all know that in a romance novel, about 75% of the way in, something is gonna happen. But, you know, with it feeling this telegraphed, I was basically just like, just get us to that point so we can just get past this, because I am just not interested in this. This book should also absolutely have a trigger warning for death of a parent that occurs very much on the page, and a significant cancer storyline. This was not clear to me when I began reading this book, and it was very emotional for me. Cancer has affected my family very deeply, and I don't necessarily know that I would have read this book, just mentally where I'm at right now, if I had known that that was going to be such a big part of it and be so emotional. And it really did, again, feel a lot like Here We Go Again, the book that Michaela and I recently read, where like one of the like parental figures also dies at the end of the book. Although at least in that one, you know, because they're on a like last stop on earth road trip, essentially, that this dying person has asked them to go on so that they won't die in a hospital, they'll die having adventures. So that you at least know is gonna be there, and you can prepare for it. I did not see anything attached to this book that suggested that there was going to be an illness storyline, a cancer storyline, or a very significant death storyline. So yeah, if that is not something that either you just don't want to read, period, or you just don't want to read right now, I feel like that's just really important to tell you, because it's gonna be there. And it was really rough for me having like the withholding thing happening. And then once that kind of like explodes, everything goes downhill really fast. And I was like, I really just thought this was a cute book about a librarian who goes to Ireland to work at a bookstore working for her favorite author of all time. And this book is a sleeper, man. Don't trust that pastel illustrated cover. It hides sadness. Again, I don't want you to think that this book is a bad book, but at the same time, like, I feel like there are reasons sometimes that people head for a romance novel, and for me a lot of the times is I want that happy ending, I want that happy story, I want some silliness, I want some laughs. And so a romance novel like this, again, not a bad book, it's a very like cute Irish setting, a fun little romance, but like has this very significant, and indeed is propelled by the illness of this character. And again, you might not want that now, you just might not want that ever. And that's okay. If that is something that sounds of interest to you, and you know you're okay with that, and you like the idea of the setting, I would definitely say it's worth the read. You just have to be prepared, and I was not. Like I said at the beginning, you can judge this book for yourself as soon as you watch this review. If you're interested, it is out now, so you can check it out from your local library or your local bookstore, however it is that you access your books, and give it a try. I would love to read some more, maybe a little bit more happier books set in Ireland. So if anyone has any other Irish romances they want to throw down in the comments, please do let me know. Otherwise, I'm just happy that I have another review that I'm getting out on the channel for another Monday. I love the semester being over. Anyways, thanks guys. Bye.